This is Rges Pre-Algebra, and we're going to review Quiz 1 together. Nobody had problems with 1 through 3, which were basic operations, so that's excellent. Questions 4 and 5 have to do with order of operations. Recall we do what's in parentheses first, then we do multiplication and division from left to right, then addition and subtraction from left to right. It is important to me that you show your steps. This is called, we have no equal sign in this expression, and so it is an expression. All we can do is either simplify it or evaluate it by plugging in a value. Now we have no x here, so we're just going to simplify this. We have to begin with what's in parentheses, and you must show every step just as I am doing. It's not acceptable to me that you are just showing scratch work, so to speak, on your paper. You want to very methodically go step by step. This is 12 times 2 plus, simplify what's in the parentheses. 6 divided by 3 is 2. The next step we want to do is we want to do the multiplication step. You do not have to underline it like I'm doing. I'm just doing that to help you see it. But if it's helpful for you to underline it, then by all means do so. It might help you be more methodical. 12 times 2 is 24 plus 2 more. Then our final step is to add those two together. 24 plus 2 is 26. Now, some of you, I would just recommend that you go a little more slowly as you're doing this. In the next one, we need to do what's in the parenthesis first. So this equals 50 times because there's no sign between the number there and the parenthesis. So that's going to be a times. 4 plus 3 is 7 over 7. Now we need to do... we have a choice here. Okay, we could either, this does represent a, that we want to do everything above and everything below and then divide. So technically what we would do here is we would, 50 times 7 is 350 divided by 7, and then we would do the division, which would be 50. Now, another way we could do it at this point would be from this part, we would cancel out our 7s, and that leaves me with 50. Either way is acceptable at that stage. Now, we had some trouble here with our properties, and you need to memorize those. Go back, review properties on page 6 if you had any difficulty with these, because they will be on the test, and we're preparing for a test week 4 on Wednesday. So it says number 6, write an equation illustrating the illustrating the identity property for multiplication. Okay. The identity property means simply that whatever I write on the left side will be written on the right side when I'm done. Okay, identity. But I need to, because it's multiplication, multiply it by something so that that will be true. And what do I have to multiply by 7 by to get 7 when I'm done? And that, this is what I'm looking for, right? Like that. If I'd said the identity property for addition, it would be the same idea. On the left and on the right, what must I add to the left side so that I will end up with the 7 again, and only the 7 on the right side, and that would be a 0. So these are your identity properties. Again, I care about all these. I could ask many more questions that I did on the quiz, so make sure you review this section. Write an equation number 7, illustrating the associative property. Okay, so there's an associative property and there's a commutative property. The associative property requires at least 3 values so that I can show pairing. You show pairing by parentheses. You show what you associate together first. Because it's addition, I need to write 3 values with additions. 3 plus 4 plus 5. Okay. And now I need to show association. That means I need to either decide to associate these two and then add the 5, or I could associate the 4 and the 5 and then add the 3. Notice I'm not changing the order. 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. Do not change the order of the values, but merely indicate association by adding parentheses. It would look very similar, except for with multiplication signs, if you want the associative property of multiplication. Okay, we had some trouble also with rounding. Number 8 says round 1527 to the nearest 10. So I'm going to identify the tens place right there. This is the one that will either move up 1 or stay the same. In other words, I will end up with 1520 or 1530. And the question is, which one? Well, you look to the immediate right, and if this value here is 5 or greater, which it is, you need to round this, the tens place, up. So this would be 1530. It's asking you, is this value to the nearest 10? So think about the tens place. Is this number here closer to 1520 or 1530? Okay, so I'm showing you a method, but you can probably look at that in your head and say, well, that's obviously closer to 1530. Number 9. 7,648. We're asking to round to the nearest hundreds place. So you identify your hundreds place, and again, I'm thinking, is this value closer to 7,600 or 7,700? You're never going down in that place. You're either taking the digit that's there or one up. There's two ways. I could just look at it. Well, 7,648 isn't quite halfway, so it would be this answer. But let's look at it another way. I say, do I round the 6 up or leave it the same? Copy the 7. How do I identify whether I round it up or keep it the same? Look immediately to the right. That is less than 5, so I leave it the same. Everything to the right becomes zeros. So again, study that skill again if you got confused or have forgotten how to do it. Finally, we're looking at Roman numerals. We're going to look at this way. Whenever I have something less than something else, I'll only have one that's less. So that's viewed as a pair. Because the 100 is less than the 1,000, you definitely need to know the symbols for all this. This is viewed as a pair because the 10 is less than the 50. So now I just read it off. 1,000, 100 less than 1,000 is 900. 10 less than 50 is 4, and then this would be the 2. So this answer should be 1942. Ask those questions in class if you're not very clear with them.